I wonder if it's required that you have to wear, like, ridiculous stuff when you go out riding a bicycle. Like, do you have to wear stuff that looks like you're sponsored by, like, 10 different companies? I don't know. That seems strange. Is it like a functional, multicolored, multi-thing pattern so that people see you? I don't know. Does it have to always match? It just seems like a lot to ride a bicycle these days when it comes to fashion. Good Lord. All right, what's up, guys? Man, it has been a minute. I know I usually start off by saying that all the time, but this time I mean it. What's it like? I think since June or something like that, since the last time. But it's actually been a little while since posting a YouTube video in general, based on my recent sort of cadence, but I have excuses, have explanations. So it's nice to kind of get back to normal a little bit. Been a kind of a busy August. So we'll start with, and you know what, real quick too, also, I'm all over the place today. So a little shout out of Canon, apologies in advance. I always kind of thought that like doing these things needed to have some sort of car-centric topic. I'm kind of rethinking that a little bit. Maybe it's just, you know, kind of ordinary vlog style, talking about whatever. Although there will be a little bit of car talk today, but yeah, probably don't always need to have like a dedicated car topic focus for these things. Just kind of getting out, going for a drive, and bullshitting a little bit, right? So, but anyway, August. So August was a little bit crazy. So we'll start off with the trip to Italy. So we took a little trip to Italy. Years ago, my mother-in-law won this silent auction for a week-long trip to Capri. And that was back in 2019. And as you can imagine, kind of the whole thing got railroaded by all the COVID bullshit. So we've been trying to figure out like when to go, when, you know, travel kind of resume normal. And then we put it off for a little bit because they extended the period of time that we had to take the trip. So we kind of figured like, all right, well, the kid graduated high school a couple months ago. Well, May, June. So it'd be cool to take this trip before he goes off to college. So booked it for August and went out there. A couple of things I will say. I'm not going to go into the whole, because like no one gives a shit about, you know, people's vacations. But 2 observations about the Italy trip. First of all, it was beautiful. We stayed at Isle of Capri. It was awesome. Very beautiful island. But 2 things. One, Italian car culture, or really traffic culture, is fucking crazy. And 2, if you don't really love travel, you might not want to go. It was worth going, I think. I think it was pretty awesome. However, you know, given everything that went into the travel, I'm kind of probably like a one and done sort of thing when it comes to travel into Europe. But yeah, so real quick breakdown on the travel, and then we'll talk about the car stuff in Italy. So starting from home to get to the hotel. So travel to the airport, get to Philly airport. I don't know why they don't have international. Wasn't availability for an international flight to Italy from Philly, since Philly is an international airport, but nonetheless. So we get to the airport, take a shuttle from the parking area to the actual airport. Then take a flight, 2.5-hour flight to Atlanta. Atlanta airport is massive, so it was either a tram or a 30-minute walk to get to our concourse. We had plenty of time to kill. It was like a 4-hour layover, so we just walked. So we hung out. Flight to Paris was delayed a little bit, but then 8.5-hour flight to Paris. That took off at like 5, and it's about 8.5 hours, so by the time we got there, it was close to 1 in the morning. But it's a 6-hour time difference, so you're landing at like 7 in the morning. So it's a little crazy. So then, you had to take a train in Paris airport, because that's even bigger. It's like a damn city. So you're going to take a train to your next concourse, another couple of hour layover, and then a 2-hour flight from Paris to Naples, to the Naples airport. Get to Naples airport, get your bags. Then you had to catch a bus to the ferry, walk to the ferry. Then it was an hour-long ferry ride to get to the Isle of Capri. And then you had to catch a shuttle provided by the hotel to actually get to the hotel. So from the time that we left our house at like 7 in the morning on, Thursday, we got there at about 2 or 3 p.m. local time on Friday with a 6-hour time difference. So really, it was about 27 hours of nonstop travel. So again, if you're not into really long travel, I don't know that I would recommend the trip. But again, it was really, really beautiful in Capri. We were there for about a week. It was a great time. It was a really cool thing to do before the kid went off to college, because it was like, concentrated time away from home, just hanging out and stuff. So definitely worth doing. On the way home, it was all that shit in reverse, except our flight from Naples to Paris was very delayed, and we had like a tiny window to catch the connecting flight from Paris to, supposed to be Minneapolis. Of course, because of the delay in the first flight, we missed our connecting flight. So when we got to Paris at about 3 p.m., 4 p.m., they auto-booked our next available flight, which was 11 o'clock the following day. So then we had to take the tram to the airport, hotels, a couple of hotels near the airport, and then stay overnight without baggage or anything, to wait till the next day to catch our flight home. And then there was a series of additional delays and layovers and everything like that. So on the way, if you count from the time that we left the hotel to the time that we actually got home, that was closer to about 40 hours of travel. So, and Air France was kind enough to lose my bag. The funny thing is that while we were sitting on the tarmac to leave from Paris to Atlanta, because we missed the flight to go to Minneapolis, so we actually ended up going back to Atlanta, we were delayed because they had to remove some bags from the plane for passengers. They couldn't match up. Pretty sure one of those was mine. So Air France, you suck. But Delta was nice enough to get it all worked out and had the bag delivered to my house the next day. So that was kind of cool. But anyway, capper on that. Trip was beautiful. Travel, dog shit. Maybe do it once, but unless you really like travel, like I said, it's probably not something you want to do. I'm more of a beach guy, which is only about 2 hours away. So in the future, we'll stick with that. Now, not car culture, but driving culture in Italy is fucking insane. So if you, man, I don't even know how to start this one. So first got exposed to it when we got on the bus going from Naples airport to go to the ferry. And like, they have traffic lights in Italy, obviously, but that's really kind of where it ends. There's traffic lights. Other than that, it is a free-for-all. And the funny thing is that any one of the things that you see somebody do there would usually here warrant beeping, maybe a middle finger, but there it's just normal. So it's a lot of jamming on the brakes, a lot of quick acceleration. When you get the opportunity, you take it, and it's just people cutting in what seems like impossible scenarios in order to get in. Most people, like most of the roads, and again, Italy is a big country, this is just, a short experience from Naples airport to the ferry, which was maybe about a half-hour bus ride, but that was really more like, all buses, mopeds, and very, very small, like tiny little cars, like bigger than a smart car, but like really, really tiny cars. Maybe a little smaller than like a Golf or something. And that's pretty much what was on the road. You'd occasionally spot like a regular sedan or a coupe or something like that. A couple of Beamers, I call it. But yeah, it's chaos there. It's just, yeah. And then, so squeezing in, people, like, you see a couple of cars with maybe scrapes and scratches down the side, maybe occasional missing side mirror. It's kind of understandable. It's a little bit of a tight squeeze on a lot of those roads. And actually, in Capri, the main road that is like this big one twisty, windy road that goes from the base all the way to the top of the mountain is probably the width, actually, of about this road, maybe a little narrower, maybe about like a one-lane, a little wider than a one-lane road in America, and it accommodates full buses going in opposite directions. It is wild. In fact, like, it's not too uncommon that we would see the driver just pull in the mirror and they would pass, it's like in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, when the night bus squeezes between the two muggle buses. That's kind of what that's like. It's almost like defies physics, how that shit works. But it's fascinating to watch, and it is like butt cheek clenching the whole time, because you're like, you're definitely gonna crash. And then again, mopeds, like people on mopeds zooming in and out, going up around blind corners. They have some mirrors and stuff, but like, man, it's a little terrifying if you're not used to it. And those drivers, man, they just like, they're used to it, and they just whiz around those corners with zero regard. Well, maybe not zero regard, but like zero intrepidation. They know what they're doing. So yeah, it's it's a little crazy. So yeah, Italian traffic, road travel, whatever. It's a little weird if you're not used to shit in Europe. I don't know how it is in Paris, because we never left the airport. But yeah, it's wild times. So anyway, so because we ended up missing our connecting flight and had to stay over in Paris one extra day, by the time we got home, we had about 3 hours before we would have had to have gotten ready and left for impact. So naturally, we regrettably missed impact this year. We had tickets, we were all set to go, but yeah, it was just after that travel and the layover and the not layover, there were multiple layovers, but the misconnecting flight and everything like that. By the time we got home, we were pretty wiped. And yeah, it was just, we still had a couple of things to do for the cars and stuff, and it was just like, man, we'll just catch it next year, which I was sad to, you know, that we both kind of agreed, my kid and I, that we'll skip it because it was just kind of insane. But, you know, it was the last big car show before he went off to school, so it sucks that we missed it, but whatever. Yeah, we'll go next year. What else? So then, of course, like 3 days after we got home, 4 days, then it was time to pack the kid up and ship him off to college. So we got all of his shit, packed up my wife's SUV, which she has a Q7. It's reasonably spacious, but it was really cramped with the three of us and all his stuff. So it was an interesting ride, 700 some odd miles. So he's almost halfway across the country, and got him all moved in over that following weekend. So yeah, it was a kind of back-to-back packed sort of busy period for the better part of August. Didn't really get much stuff done car-wise, obviously. Haven't really gotten a chance to film anything, so hoping to get back into that routine, but have a bunch of stuff to go, have a bunch of stuff to do. So I got some car maintenance stuff coming up. Got to do I'm almost at 60,000 miles, so got spark plugs. Still got to do the coolant flush. Needs an oil change. Nardo needs an oil change and a cabin filter replacement, but Nardo I think is just shy of like 15,000 miles, so still not a whole lot to do there. And mods, so a couple mods coming up, hopefully. Like to finish up the carbon fiber on here. Oh, cool story. So I sold, after having done the Valvetronic muffler install, I sold the Remus muffler. Really nice guy from Washington, D.C. We met up, sold it to him, and he had a buddy who runs a car parts store or whatever, so he hooked me up with a little promo code for boot mode. So should be getting boot mode. Probably was planning on doing that anyway, but kind of worked out. So yeah, hopefully we'll do a boot mode install pretty soon. I'm excited to do that. I really want to, probably just going to do a stage 1, just because I don't have downpipes yet. I'm still debating on downpipes, although at this point, it's really going to come down to either ARM or AR Design. There's about $1,000 difference between the two, and there were other ones that I was considering, but I don't know, man. I don't know I can justify spending over $2,000, $2,500 for downpipes. I mean, I'm sure they're worth it, but for what they are, it just seems like a lot. So again, I'm thinking ARM or AR Design, but yeah, I'm excited to do a stage 1 tune and just see what the difference is. Like, can you really tell the difference on a stage 1 tune over stock. From everything I've read, yes, you can, but how much so? Is it really noticeable? Is it just kind of like a little more zip, you know? So I'm excited to get that installed and see how that works and tinker around with some other settings. So that video should be coming up pretty soon, hopefully, as well as some more maintenance videos and some other mods and stuff like that. So still a lot of stuff to do with the cars, but now that the kid's off in college, I got the F80, or Nardo F80 kind of sitting around. So my wife will have to keep her running in his absence, but also been meaning to do a video doing the comparison between the DCT and manual transmission. So that's kind of, haven't really figured out how I want to do that, but it's definitely been one of like the idea videos that I've had for a while, comparing the two as a almost lifelong manual transmission driver. But even though I still wouldn't want to give up manual transmission for anything, the DCT transmission in Nardo it's quite exceptional. It's a lot of fun. So if you absolutely had to drive a DCT, it is a very fun, it's a fun drive. It's almost like a video game though. It's weird. Like I've never had a car with paddle shifters because obviously I've pretty much always had a manual transmission car. And I think I probably would end up using the sport shifter more than the paddle shifters, but it's still a lot of fun. Like if you've never really driven with paddle shifters before, it's, I don't know, it's like a video game when you first start using them. It's kind of fun. So another big project that I'm pretty excited to hopefully get into soon is garage renovation. So I'm sure if you've seen any past videos filmed in the driveway, you can probably catch a glimpse of the inside of the garage, which is a hot mess. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly the same as it was from when we moved in like 5 years ago, with the exception of me having removed all of the millions of hooks that the previous owners had for various storage and hanging things in there. But other than that, it's pretty much untouched, and it's just, yeah, I don't even know how we fit the cars in there because it's just shit packed all around them. That is really kind of nerve-wracking a little bit because it's very, very close to all the cars. Two cars. But yeah, so really excited to get that done. Eventually get started. Have to get everything out of there, sand everything down, repaint. Still debating on what to do for flooring. I originally wanted to do the Swiss Trax flooring. I know that it can, it's easy to support for, floor jacks and jack stands and like all that stuff. But I don't know. It's good at like trapping dirt. There's a lot of hair that goes flying around because we have so many animals, and all the hair gets tracked in and out of the house, going in and out of the garage. So still not really sure on the flooring, either that or just kind of redo like a sealant on the concrete floor. I don't know, but get some shelving out there, get like a proper workspace out there. That's going to be awesome. So really looking forward to that. Get some better lighting, get like a wall mount solution for the power washer, all that stuff. So hoping to get that transformed over the next couple of months. It's going to be probably a very long project, but definitely going to be worth doing. Some of the other shit I've talked about here before too, just to touch back on a little bit. So the import a car business, I still love that idea. Import Japanese cars. I still love that idea. I've still been spending a little bit of time researching that. Haven't really concluded whether or not I think that's something that I actually want to do. I think we're definitely doing the Supra at some point. And I think maybe we'll just see how that goes from an importing process and see whether or not, it's like, would it be worth making a business out of that? Would it be more of a side hustle? Make it like a real thing? Not really sure. But yeah, so I think we'll maybe use the experience of importing the Supra eventually, whenever that is. Probably won't be in the very near future, but eventually. Obviously the Supra, definitely still have plans to do that. All-time favorite car, gotta make it happen. Shit, I'm supposed to turn here. I don't really have a timetable on that. I'd love for it to happen within the next year, but one will be finances, and two will be finding actually the right car. And I've noticed that right-hand drive Supras are ticking up in value a little bit. Just a little bit. They're not crazy, but they're just, I would imagine that they're just going to keep climbing. I mean, for me, a left-hand drive Supra is just pretty much out of range. Even if I had the money for one, I probably would be, like, if it, I had insane money, then I wouldn't care. But if it was like, if you had just enough money to buy a left-hand drive Supra, I don't know. Because for what they're going for now, it's almost like, is it really worth it? Probably not. I mean, 160 grand on like a decent American model, North America, whatever, Supra. I don't know that that's worth it, but 50 or 60 grand for a right-hand drive, definitely. I don't mind it being right-hand drive. In fact, I would almost prefer it. I just think it would be cool. Hopefully it wouldn't be a novelty that would wear off. I don't think it would, but for some people it would, but I don't know. I get the impression that I kind of would be cool with it always being a right-hand drive. But yeah, so that is still definitely in the cards at some point. I think the garage renovation is probably the next big project coming up. So I'm still sort of laying a little low on things that I otherwise would have done to this car that is a little bit more than the stuff that, like the not basic, but the essential stuff that I wanted to do to this car. Just because, again, I don't want to throw all that money in for when there's another project car kind of on the horizon. But yeah, the wheels, carbon fiber treatment, maybe a couple of other things still got to get done to this car. I'll let the boy figure out what he wants to do with Nardo, and then focus on the Supra. So that's those are sort of the tentative car goals over the next, I don't know how much period of time. All right, guys. Well, this one was a little bit faster than I anticipated. Sure, I'm forgetting something that I meant to talk about, but there's always another talk and drive in case I did. And yeah, so hope you guys enjoy your 3-day weekend. Sucks that it is kind of already the end of summer, sort of unofficially the end of summer after tomorrow. Granted, we got like a bunch of 90-degree days coming up here in Delaware, which is awesome. It's gonna be great, but it's still the end of summer. You can just tell, like in the mornings and the evenings, it's like significantly cooler. And I hate this time of year. It's like, you always get to this point and it always feels like it just went way too fast. Like, I don't know how many times I've gotten to the end of summer thinking like, man, that was a nice long summer. No, it always feels like it went way too fast. And here we are with that again. But in any case, yeah, so bunch more content coming out, trying to get back into the rhythm of things after a little bit of a break. Like 2-3 weeks, but still a little bit of a break. But a lot more F80 content coming out pretty soon. And yeah, so hope you guys enjoy your Labor Day tomorrow, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.